Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. What does the future hold for Joey Barton, banned for 3 weeks by Rangers and now facing betting allegations? Kieran Tierney says he was given a footballing education by Barcelona's Lionel Messi. And as well as that, we'll look ahead to 3 nights of League Cup ties here on the show. Alan Ruff is with me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted to say our bootroom guest is Murdo, MacLeod, former Dumbarton, Celtic, Borussia Dortmund and Hibernian midfielder. Have I missed any club? I don't know. It would have been at the tail end of your career anyway, Murdo, and you'd have been picking up wages for nothing. Is that fair?
That's right. No, you've mentioned them all.
Oh, that's good enough for me. OK. Let's cut to the chase on this. We were off as far as last night's programme was concerned, Ruffy, because we had the small matter of a Pele special. And I think we've managed to maintain the standard. Pele one night, Murdo MacLeod the next. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to get a chance to talk about the Joey Barton saga because, again, since we broke the story, it's gathered arms and legs on this. He's been banned for 3 weeks. And now there's a situation, allegations of betting.
Yeah, I think when it initially broke, I think we all thought there was more to this than meets the eye. I think obviously we're only hearing some of it, but it looks as if there's been other more important things been happening behind the scenes, and obviously he's been brought back in, and obviously the manager doesn't like what he heard when he met him. I believe that the board were at that meeting as well, which is pretty serious, and to me it looks as if Rangers are just going through a procedure. As you have to do to move somebody away from the club. I might be wrong, but usually in football, if it's something like that happens, if you want the player to stay, you get it done and dusted. You bring him in, you have a chat, finished, let's move on. That hasn't happened, and I think that the 3 weeks is I think it's a way out for him. And I said it on Saturday there, I thought he was actually trying to find a way out. He's already come out with some statements saying possibly the wrong move for me, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's what Rangers will do.
Yeah, as if to add fuel to the fire, there's obviously a suggestion in one of the papers this morning that, in his book he reveals that there was interest from Celtic and, the chief executive of Celtic, Peter Lawwell, has distanced himself from Joey Barton's version of events. In the broad scheme of things, Murdo, we were talking about it on Saturday's programme. It's a 3-week ban. Yeah. I think people deserve a second chance. Again, we don't know the exact words that were said to Andy Halliday or the manager, but I can't see any way back for him now.
No, I think they're just building the steps for him to leave at some point, Peter. I think after the initial argument between him and the players, the manager, then he's got banned for 3 or 4 days, he's out the door. After that time, Peter, you either make the decision then that you want him to stay, you're desperate for him to stay, or it's time for him to leave the club. And now another 3 weeks added on, Peter. I think obviously all the lawyers will be sitting down, they'll be looking at all the small print in the contract to see how they can move him on.
Yeah, the betting allegations, I think, that could easily be explained away, Ruffy, on a situation where maybe in England, you can bet in games providing it's not in your division. I think, they're moving towards zero tolerance everywhere now. He could probably, there's a small window to try and, get out of that. But, if that is proved, then that's another thing that he's got to try and talk his way out of.
Yeah, I think the betting, every time we hear that there's been a betting allegation, we don't know what it is, but eventually it'll come out, what that betting allegation is. I think it was a boy, was it Ayr or something, had something like 100 bets or something like that. So I think it depends in the magnitude of it. We do, as you said, want nobody to do it at all in any division, but it's not until it actually comes out there of what these bets are, and then everybody can make their own decision.
I'm a wee bit surprised, Peter, though, that's brought in towards it, because I don't think this is the issue with Rangers and Joey Barton just now.
Yeah.
The betting things, I think that's on its own, that's separate, because I think there's enough there for Joey Barton to be worried about. He might be asked to leave the club at some point after this 3 weeks. The betting thing's just more problems for him on top of that. Yeah. Again, that's the sidetrack for the whole thing.
Yeah, as I suggested to you, Murdo, on Saturday, this has been building. And then once you get the scent of blood, and once a group, whether it be the manager or the board, have a decision to make, suddenly information comes in, and then you start to get a book, and it's a cast iron case before you know it. And then, as you said, the lawyers start to look over these things. I think the Rangers fans and the board and the manager would have cut him slack and not even contemplated 3 weeks of a ban had he been doing the business on the park.
100%. If you're doing well, doing really well on the park, he was a big name signing. He came from the Championship in England. He was one of the best players in the Championship last year. Everybody's thinking, great signing for the club. Someone in the middle of the park, it's got good experience, he's a battler, he'll go and play passes. But since he's arrived at Rangers, he still runs about the park enough, but not quick enough.
Yeah.
He still makes passes, but not enough good passes, and he drifts in and out of games, and that's not good enough. When you're getting a big wage, one of the top players, you've got to make sure you produce the goods on the park, and it's not happened.
I think the 3-week ban will put the supporters against him, because if the supporters being supporters will start saying, well, he's done something, to our club.
Yeah.
He's been given 3 weeks. He's not there to help us out of this situation, and I think that could be the thing that could just turn it.
Yeah, well, I think the percentage of fans have actually gone, beyond the fact of bringing him back in. I think they're looking at it now and saying, well, wait a minute, this is just not acceptable.
I still think it's a dressing room thing. The manager has to decide, and this looks as if it was a massive blowout. This looks as if it was players, for him to walk through that door into these experienced players and be back on it. It's okay saying, footballers move on. A lot of footballers don't move on. Grudges can be held in a dressing room.
But Peter, three weeks down the line, he's not going to walk in the door and everybody thinks, oh, you're back.
Great to have you back.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah.
All the ill feeling at that time will still be there. So that's how I find it really strange that he's banned for the 3 weeks. You either just try and get him out the door right away, if that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, well, right now it's in lockdown, as you would expect. Even the Rangers manager didn't want to talk about it ahead of their match against Queen of the South.
This is what the club said in the statement. As I say, it's not for me to make any further comment other than it's been released by the club this morning. So as I say, that's all I'm going to make. I'm sure you can understand from my position and the position of the club, the statement's gone out and no further comment will be made. So I trust you'll respect my statement on that fact.
OK, let's put Joey Barton to one side. Suddenly, we're in a situation where the manager's had to deal with what I would consider his first major hassle and controversy. Now there's a bit of pressure on him because suddenly you're back in action. Queen of the South tonight and then Aberdeen at the weekend. 2 big games. I mean, this is where he's really going to feel the pressure of being a Rangers manager.
Well, obviously he's not really had to deal with a player of that calibre. No. So all of a sudden he's in the big picture. He's the man he's got to be battling with just now. Try to get something sorted from that. And now you've got Queen of the South, who are top of the Championship, playing really good football, well organised side, and they'll come to Ibrox and just thinking this is going to be comfortable for us. They enjoy playing there. They've been there before. They've won there before. So they'll not be frightened turning up tonight. And if you're the manager, Rangers have got to produce a performance tonight. Then it's all about the weekend as well. Going up to Pittodrie, one of the toughest places for any Rangers side to go to.
Yep, I think this is the time. It's not only about the manager, it's about the players. There's a lot of players have come up for England, and I probably have never experienced this pressure so early on, and they've got to then go out in front of the supporters and get themselves out of a hole. And winning games is the only way that you get everybody talking. They stop talking about it, and it's a massive pressure if you've got 45, 50,000 there and you're only being used to be playing in front of 4 and 5 to then all of a sudden start turning it on and winning games. But as we all know, winning games shuts everything up.
Yeah, it was great last year that when you're top of the Championship, things are going really well. You don't worry about anything. The football's flowing, they're scoring goals, everything fine, top of the table. Now all of a sudden, dropping down the table, now a tough match at home in the League Cup, going up to Pittodrie at the weekend. 2 massive games for the club. And all the fans will be judging the manager now, and then they'll maybe start to look at it and just wondering, look at the run Rangers have been on since the tail end of last year. They've won, 3 or 4 league matches and out of about 12 games, Peter. So all of a sudden, that's not good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, coming up in the next part of the programme, we are going to be talking about the St Mirren manager's job. Of course, Alec Ray and David Farrell lost their job when we were doing our Pelly special last night. We'll discuss that in the next part of the programme, and we're also going to look at the League Cup ties as well. You can interact with us at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We will look to Celtic against Alloa. We'll also look at Aberdeen against St Johnstone on the Thursday in the League Cup ties. So lots to talk about coming up after the break. Join us if you can on The Football Show. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Murdo MacLeod is our boot-room guest on tonight's programme. St Mirren looking for a new manager. Did they pull the trigger too early, Ruffy?
Well, I said to you, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, the new owner went on record to say that he wasn't expecting Alec to win anything, you know, but if he went home at night with a smile on his face after watching the team playing and they were playing good football, then everything would be okay. But as we know, owners and directors get pressured to make decisions, and obviously where St Mirren are sitting at this precise moment in time, you start getting the fans making noises, and he's made a decision. You know, I hate to see managers getting sacked so early on, because as we know, things can change so quickly, particularly in that league. You get a couple of wins and you're away again, but sometimes they make decisions too soon, but that remains to be seen.
It's strange from last season, because St Mirren were really struggling. He arrived, got things into shape, and then got them back to a comfortable position. And now this season, I think again it's just rebuilding, because the amount of players that left over the summer, Peter, you're bringing in new players again. You're just trying to get your team, your strongest team on the park, and then you're out of job. Yeah. You know, after 5 or 6 matches.
I think there's a point, Murdo, and it might be just at the halfway point of the Championship, where the clubs below that and then into League One and League Two are operating in a market of, you know, literally no money. And you really are using all your skills of your contacts and everything to try and get, you know, players that might be able to do your turn, and it is erratic. I mean, it's really, really cutthroat. At least in the Championship or League One in England, you've got a budget, you know, that ranks with the best of them.
Well, that's the difference, Peter. Down south in England, you can say to a guy, well, I'm going to give you £20,000 a week to come to us and all this kind of thing. Fantastic. But up here in Scotland, all these clubs in the bottom half of the Championship, they're looking, we'll give you £500 a week or whatever they're on, round about that. And they're all similar wages, so you're going to get the similar type players. Yeah. And if they're all spread about these 4 or 5 clubs, then all of a sudden, every time you're going to play, it's a toss of a coin, you're going to win the match or not. You need some money, Peter, to make your club better.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that in mind, of course, Celtic released their financial results yesterday. £500,000 profit. That's a quick turnaround from the £4 million loss. And of course, Virgil van Dijk's sale helped that. And the money that they'll get from the Champions League certainly will boost the coffers, no doubt. They're in action against Alloa in the Betfred League Cup tomorrow night. Despite the fact that Alloa had a great start to the season, I wouldn't imagine too many problems. Interestingly enough, Kieran Tierney was talking to the assembled members of the press yesterday and talked about that lesson that was handed out by Lionel Messi and others in the new camp.
Didn't go to plan at all, but it was an experience, that's one thing. I was watching one man thinking it was like, he's my man, then somebody would run behind me, and it was so hard, and the tempo they play, it's amazing. The front three, I'd say it's the best front three ever, and they're just all so switched on each other. They know where each other are, and it's great to watch.
There was a point, Murdo, where I thought he was actually going to take him off, because you know, after 45 minutes, I thought he had a torrid time. Yeah. But you know, he persevered with him. To his credit, Brendan Rodgers, it was a 7-0 hammering. That boy will have learned so much from it.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're a young kid that age, and you'll be dreaming about it every night before the game. You know, build up. Is it Messi going to play in this right-hand side against him? Who's going to be there? And obviously we knew it was going to be Messi. And then he comes across to you, and then Messi's dragging you in 10 yards, and the full-back's going down outside you all day long. But again, that's something you've got to look at much before the game. All your scouts go and watch Barcelona. We all know how they play. Yeah. You've got to make sure you've got to get cover. Because if you're the can only defender down that left-hand side and you're getting drawn inside by Messi, which happens all the time, the full-back's going to go wide of you all the time. That's where Celtic maybe just should have dropped an extra man back to help him. But for a youngster to be left on his own against possibly one of the best players in the world, then it's not a great night. He's always going to struggle, and Messi was in top for him.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Murdo, because a lot of players would say, systems. We always talk about systems. We're obsessed by tactics. We're obsessed by the statistics behind the tactics. Neil Lennon got it so right against them when he compressed it and let them run into traffic. But that one, they had so much space, and when you hear, young Kieran Tierney saying he's picking up one man and there's another 2 or 3 behind him.
Yeah, that's why it's all about formations. It's all about, a full-back and the guy in front of him in the midfield area who complement each other. That's why I thought it looked like a mismatch to me, having the boy Sinclair, who's an attacking midfielder who is not wanting to come back in defence. He's not probably been used to coming back and covering for the full-back. So I think the wee boy Tierney was left short, and that's why I thought he maybe would have played 5 in the midfield to have that cover. But I mean, you make decisions and you stand by them.
Yeah, just one brief thing that I wanted to get your thoughts on, Rafi. I didn't get the chance to speak to you about it yesterday. Doris De Vries or Craig Gordon? This argument is raging on at the moment. De Vries is now suddenly under pressure and in the spotlight.
Yeah, I think the worst thing for Craig Gordon would be for everybody to be talking about it. I think it's up to Brendan Rodgers to make that decision, but the more people keep saying, you need to change, you need to change, you need to change, the manager might just say, no, he's not going to change just because of everybody else. I think we'll have to wait and see what he does. I haven't seen him making a save yet. I would agree that he is very good with the ball at his feet. He seems to be able to ping a ball into, but players have to make that work. But we have to wait and see. But I still think Craig Gordon shouldn't have been dropped as quickly as he was.
Yeah, and if it's any consolation to you, Rafi, I didn't tell you at the time, but I know you got it in the neck from Chris Sutton. I mean, I think there's only one person in Benbecula who hasn't got it in the neck from Sutton, but I let him have it in Barcelona.
Yeah,
I just said his card is marked if he has a pop at you one more time. So, the ground has been laid.
Yeah, well, he's lucky he never bumped into us in Las Ramblas, or it might have just happened then, because I'm a short fuse.
I must tell him that. I want to tell him he's only moments away from getting leathered, Murdo.
That's right.
Let's look to St Johnstone. It always happens in football. You open your mouth about a team and suddenly about their diving, and then it's a little bit of karma. It comes back to bite you in the back end. Tommy Wright says they'll find out on Thursday about their appeals for the alleged diving of Graham Cummins and Chris Kane, but I don't think he's going to fine the boys. The appeal tells you everything you need to know about where Tommy Wright stands on this.
Do you not pay a few bob for that as well to appeal for it?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's £1,000. Yeah.
So that's a lot of money for the club.
Yeah.
To go and have a wee go to. But when you ever go at another team about players going down too easily, and then all of a sudden your own players are doing that, then you've got to look at your own players first. First and foremost, make sure that the players don't have that mentality of any contact in the box, I'm just going to drop to my knees here, I'm going to try and win a penalty kick. And if your players are going to do that, then you can't come out and criticise another club for doing it.
Yeah. Aberdeen against St Johnstone. Obviously, I'm looking at Aberdeen and Rangers as the only 2 teams that potentially have the capability to stop Celtic, even with a 5-1 Old Firm defeat. Rafi, is that fair? This one is the tasty one for Thursday night. Yeah,
I thought Aberdeen looked a wee bit more themselves. Okay, it was the last 20 minutes, but boy Stockley looks pretty useful, and obviously you get Rooney there as well. And McLean and Hayes, the wee boy looked sharp.
Yeah.
He looked really sharp with his pace. So I think Aberdeen might just be coming into some kind of form that they had last year.
Yeah, I haven't seen it early on, Murdo, which led me to believe, well, let's not have any of this Aberdeen are challenging for the title nonsense.
Yeah.
I'd need to see it over a sustained period.
Yeah, I'm sure Aberdeen will go on a good run at some point, Peter, and then all of a sudden all the talk will be, Aberdeen are going to be the main challengers to Celtic to win the title. But again, you just got to wait for the clubs to go through these type of good runs. If you can get 6 or 7 back-to-back victories, it's fantastic. Yeah, and I wonder if you're going to take the bet with me. Rafi, Mark McGee has said to Louis Moult he reckons he could get 20 goals by Christmas. Are you buying into that?
No. Not at all. Not by Christmas.
No chance.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe for the season. Seriously,
Yeah.
if he gets 20 for the season, I think that's a really good
I
return.
agree with you.
Albeit getting 4 at the weekend was a
Yeah.
wonderful achievement. But these things can dry up really quickly. You go 3 or 4 games without a goal, and you're chasing it. But I think if Louis finished the season with 20 goals, the manager would be really pleased with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I buy into that as well. Lads, there's no argument here. We're not even going to bet on it. Just one thing to say before we go away. I know, Murdo, you'll think this is complete lunacy, but we always like to respond to a number of people who come up to us, Ruffy, and say, you know, hi, we love the show. I had 6 ladies who come up to me at the weekend and said, we love the show. We work for Tallis, and Margaret, Sharon, Kathy, Christine, Susan and Karen said, is there any way you could get Ruffy to wave to the camera to us, just all the girls, because you know we love watching the programme. Is that possible?
Yeah, I'm sure Murdo will wave as well.
Yeah.
Mother?
There you are. There you are. That's absolutely. Honestly, your fan club has just increased by 6 again. He's a housewife's favourite, and so is Murdo. Thanks for joining us, Murdo. From everyone here, good night.